A year of war has left death and destruction on a monstrous scale in its wake. Delve and surrounding regions is where the heaviest fighting took place. Some of the battles fought there are among the largest ever recorded in the history of New Eden. In the end, the Imperium Coalition managed to hold on and defend their stronghold system of 1DQ1 TAC-A, despite determined and repeated attempts to break the defenses by the invading PAPI forces. Now, with PAPI forces withdrawing from the war zone and dispersing throughout various regions of New Eden, the Imperium has destroyed many enemy bases, recaptured occupied systems, and is reconstructing and reorganizing their defenses. Meanwhile, the PAPI coalition has dissolved. Its former members are moving their forces back to their various home regions. Just like the Imperium, these factions are reorganizing and regrouping. With the PAPI coalition coming to an end, old rivalries and grievances have in some cases re-emerged, and conflicts between some former PAPI factions have been reported. The war has taken a tremendous toll on all parties, driving them to the point of exhaustion. Years' worth of stockpiles have been depleted, and many are facing financial difficulties after accruing massive war debts. A number of alliances have gone over the edge and collapsed completely. The cost in human lives is likewise staggering. Around 500 Titans and 240 supercarriers were destroyed, each carrying thousands of crew members. Over 3,500 structures were lost, including at least 40 keep stars. Some of these had populations in the hundreds of thousands. It is unclear how the political landscape of New Eden's NULLSEC regions will evolve following this turmoil, but it is clear that the struggle and tension between the NULLSEC factions that has lasted over a decade is far from resolved. It seems it is only a question of time until NULLSEC catches fire again, as new powers emerge and exhausted ones fade away. Caldari State Workers Union Day is being celebrated all over Caldari space, with the festivities expected to last a week. The big 8 megacorporations that control the Caldari state are also displaying the might of their security forces with fleet parades in key systems. Caldari Union Day also sees the unveiling of 2 monuments. The Landfall Kutuotomiru Orbital Center is a facility dedicated to the teaching and practice of the various techniques of mind and body used by those practicing the Caldari way. A practice held in high regard by the Caldari people, intended to maximize focus, equanimity, and mental fortitude for one's individual efforts to climb the corporate ladders. More controversially, the ruling megacorporations have also unveiled a memorial to the dead of the URLEN II riots, in which ethnic Galante citizens of the state were killed by Provost rioters loyal to the former regime of Tibus Heth. The corporations of the state have long worked to discredit centralized government and ideology of Heth and the provosts. However, outside observers of Caldari corporate politics have noted that this latest memorial to victims of that regime comes at a time when the megacorporations are themselves under pressure from Caldari worker classes. With megacorporation politics under the closest public scrutiny since the fall of Heth, and the Caldari state still recovering from its grievous losses to the TRIGLAVIAN invaders, the State Industrial Planning Summit traditionally held on Union Day is expected to deal with many pressing issues. Uppermost on the agenda of the Chief Executive Panel is the decision on the next permanent chair of the CEP. With Chairman Puak Kosonen still recovering from near death in the new Caldari Prime CEP Spire bombing, the acting chair has been AKIMAKA SARAKI, a Navy veteran and rising star of the Wyarchemy Corporation. All indications are that the successful performance of Chairman Saraki during his tenure as stand-in will result in the CEP confirming him in the leadership position permanently. AKIMAKA SARAKI first emerged onto the public stage within the state as a senior director within the Wyarchemy Corporation responsible for infrastructure security. Saraki played a key role in the effort to fortify the planets of Samanuni's system against Triglavian invasion. When the system itself was invaded, Saraki took personal command of the planetary defense of Samanuni 6 as the highest-ranking corporate leader with military experience. Saraki's role as a voice supporting the right of Caldari citizens to protest corporate malfeasance and incompetence cemented his reputation as a relatively liberal while patriotic figure at home. As an envoy to Concord, Saraki was also able to assist in averting open war during the EOM terror crisis. Shortly after this, with Puak Kosonen disabled by his injuries, the CEP appointed AKIMAKA Saraki as acting chair of the CEP, elevating him to the leadership of the Caldari state. With AKIMAKA Saraki's confirmation as chair of the CEP all but guaranteed, it is expected that at a future time, the new head of the corporate ruling body will address the citizens of the Caldari state. Many are expecting an address to come within weeks, possibly during the period making a year since the Triglavian invasions ended. With the big 8 megacorporations determined to reassert the efficient running of the state under their rule, the choice of Chairman AKIMAKA Saraki is clearly a compromise between the competing corporate factions. With a patriotic yet relatively liberalizing slant of the Waiakimi Corporation's Ocean faction reflected in their nominee, and with the agreement of the conservative and powerful Mountain faction corporations, it is clear that the majority of the CEP aim at consolidation and reconciliation with aggrieved Caldari populations, rather than continued confrontation and coercion as advocated by the more militant corporations of the Forest faction. This is Alton Haveri reporting for The Scope.